Hey everybody, how you doing out there? This is Alex, and
Hey, I'm Shawn. How y'all doing?
welcome to the Linux Tube. We put this channel together. I started it off, because I wanted to welcome new people into it, and also do videos on new people experiencing new things and learning how to do things and teaching them how to do things in their conversion to Linux. Shawn here has recently converted to Linux from Windows. And he's also going to be a partner on the channel. So, yay for Shawn. I
Yay.
want him to, first off, cheers, brother.
All right. Prost.
Beer 30 over here.
We worked today, so we
Yeah.
earned it.
Yes, we did. So, anyhow, I wanted Shawn to give a little overview of how his conversion to Linux went. So, I'm going to turn over the floor to Shawn right now.
Okay, yeah, I've been out of the computer game for a while and it's kind of, hitting like a newbie stage, getting into it again.
Yeah.
It's been so long. I went to school for computers like 20 years ago or whatever, but, I just
Right.
fell into truck driving and construction and just wasn't even playing with a computer anymore.
Pretty much so life happened.
Went to consoles, playing video games on consoles, and and so like the last time I had one, I was like rocking Microsoft XP, and downloading discs and copying the codes from friends and or whatever,
Right,
sharing the software that way, and
Right.
so
Which still wasn't legal, by the way,
oh shh. So anyways, It's been over 7 years, so we're safe there, but
Right.
So yeah, I wanted to get back into computers. I can't remember what the idea was, or if it was for my kids that are like coming of age, or I don't remember what exactly. Like a bug just hit me, and I needed a PC. I needed a home computer. I had a laptop at home that was running Windows 7 or something that I barely even used
Right.
and stuff. So I went and I found a used computer for $100 or something that had, an Intel i5 in it and was running Windows 10 and. Came with the whole package, monitor and, whatever. And and one of the selling points, I was like getting a hold of the seller. I was like, well, where's the service codes or where's the service key,
Right.
for Windows.
Product key, right? Yeah.
Because for the product key, because I've had experience with that. Like all of a sudden, 6 months down the road, it wants you to update.
Right.
And if you don't have this, it'll just say you've been locked out of this
Or you get one of those annoying watermarks in the bottom right-hand corner that says this
And it's
product has not
limited.
been unactivated, and you can't customize anything,
Download anything, or
I don't think you can change wallpapers. You're stuck.
Yeah,
with
everything's limited.
Yeah, everything's locked. Yeah.
It happened to my grandpa's down in Portland, and pretty much like we didn't do nothing. I haven't done, so I need to go down there and put Linux on it, anyways. So then talking to you at work, I was like having reservations about buying this computer because it had Windows 10 on it, and I didn't have. And you're like, hey, just throw Linux on it. You go on a website and download. Or you said you had some flash drives, and it's really easy.
I only got about 30 of them.
You tried to explain to me how easy it was.
Yeah.
So I got on YouTube and watched some videos and kind of did some research on which kernel I wanted to start with.
Right.
Which one had the long-term support and would be more well-rounded for what I needed.
Right.
So I chose Pop.
Pop OS. Yep.
You download, you extract the file with 7 file or whatever that is on Windows, and
The ISO. You download the ISO.
so this computer I bought, it wouldn't even log in. I couldn't, after I bought it, he's like, yeah, no problems. So I drove all the way to Olympia, 40 miles away or whatever to buy this computer.
Right.
And I bring it home, and it's stuck on the updating page.
Oh, wow.
So after a
so
week...
you got stuck in a Windows boot loop for updates, really is what it was.
And without having the start disk or...
Right.
That's probably what I needed.
Yeah.
If I just loaded, changed CMOS to boot from the drive, and then it would have started
from
up.
a CD and just reinstall Windows altogether.
It would have
again.
started
Yeah.
up, and I didn't even have that, right? Or the code, product
Right.
key. So that's where I was at. And I was like coming to work explaining to you that, like, what do I do?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any experience? Because I knew you knew computers.
Right.
And that's how we got onto Linux.
Right.
So I put it in safe mode.
Right.
Started up with F11 or whatever it is to get it to boot up into safe mode, and got on there onto where I downloaded, the Pop OS, put that on a flash drive,
The System 76,
and then rebooted it that way, and so that's pretty funny. I use the computer to kill itself. And
That's kind of cool. So what I want to ask you is because in a couple of the Linux communities that I belong to on Facebook, I see these questions asked all the time, and people are always, you know, everybody's got their own opinion on it, but I have my opinion on it. Many other people out there have their opinion on it that have been doing this for a while, and really, I want to get a fresh perspective. Like, it's been decades for me. I've been using Linux for 20 years, 20 plus years.
yeah.
Okay. And so the perspective that I want to get is your entire experience of what it was like not knowing anything. Because, guys, I'm telling you, he texted me one time to ask me something about secure boot in BIOS. And I told him he had to turn it off and make sure that he was using, the ACHI or whatever it was, or Legacy, I think it was, in your BIOS for the boot drive, right? And so that was all he asked me. The rest of it he did on his own, from burning the ISO to you did USB or CD? I can't remember which one. You
I put it on a little USB
a
drive.
little USB drive. That's right. He burned it to USB drive, and he booted into it, and he actually installed it all on his own with no questions. I get tons of questions and IMs and PMs and emails and all kinds of stuff on what people need to do for this, that, and another. This cat right here did it all without any questions except for that one, and it really kind of struck me because really, I've always felt that the actual installer, especially on the Debian-based one, the Ubuntu-based ones, their installer is actually pretty self-explanatory. It just walks you right through stuff,
Right.
Some others, like Gentoo, not so much. But that's for more experienced Linux users, So, I mean, you have a full gambit of different installers. Like, with Arch Linux, they got the Calamares installer, which is a kind of guide through. But there's also Vanilla Arch, which is all command line. So, I mean, there's different ones, but I want to capture that experience of what it was like for you to install it blindly without knowing anything, because there's so many people that are scared in making that jump from Windows to Linux. But and they don't know they don't know what to expect on that installer.
Just the years of Windows programming, the commercials, and knowing that that's the safe product, and then
being told that's a safe product,
and then jumping over to this free, platform, operating system that was just out there I could grab and start over.
Right.
It was kind of scary,
Right.
I had to be reassured by you, and then you're like, yeah, your iPhone runs off it, and
that's right.
Everything's Linux, so you don't even know it.
That's right. That's the thing most people don't even realize. All these secure servers that are being used around the world, like Amazon AWS, a lot of your banking servers, even Microsoft, they don't want to admit it, but they all use Linux servers.
Right.
Android is a derivative of Linux. Everybody, 99.9% of the world carries around Linux in their pocket.
Which is crazy because it's free. It's such a big name, and all the programs on it are free, and just to get set up was free.
Right.
And so I was a little weary or afraid that I was going to brick the system or whatever.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, once it loaded up, it was just I asked what language it wanted, and then all of a sudden, just a bunch of command prompts. It just started loading information.
Mm-hmm.
Are you sure you want to delete your previous one?
Your partition that's on there. That's
yeah.
right. When
you want to partition your hard drive?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then it was super smooth.
The whole
download took 10 minutes or something.
Yeah.
From start to finish.
Right. Yeah.
From having the USB downloaded to, getting the finished product.
Right.
To where I was like navigating different apps and stuff. It took probably 10 minutes.
Nice.
It's just
I
was blown away.
Historically, I mean, unless you get, there are some I mean, you are aware there's hundreds of different distributions of Linux out there, right?
Yeah.
If you go to distrowatch.com, you will see well over, I think, 300, or more. I can't really remember the number. There's so many, and they're either based off of Debian base, which is what Pop! OS and Ubuntu and all those are. Then there's Fedora, and then there's Arch Linux, right? And so being that, you have many to choose from, many derivatives to choose from. So at that, you just gotta understand that there's different avenues to go, So you chose actually on your own because I don't even think I even mentioned Papa
I
OS.
Google searched it. What would be
Yeah.
the best for gaming or for kids navigating? Or I can't remember what the peripherals I was looking under, but a couple of them popped up, and I just did research. And that's where I
Perfect.
got
That's
with
what I tell
Pop.
people to do.
So
So you did that, and you came up on Pop. You installed it, no problem. Took 10 minutes, and that's about the average for all of them.
I've had no problems with it. It's been almost 2 months or something, and
No problems.
I
at
have
all.
no complaints.
None whatsoever.
All it's just
How are the kids navigating in it?
They're doing really well actually. They can figure it out on their own. Windows 10 was a little chunky, like wonky, hard to navigate.
Right.
You go to the start menu, and
I've often said that.
I had a hard time with it.
With Windows, well, any Windows, whether it was Windows 10, Windows 7, I think XP wasn't so bad, but the older iterations, when you click on them, you clicked on here, then you clicked on this to go into here to get to
right.
something. You had to click 2 and 3 times for stuff.
Yep.
And what's funny is with Linux, you do that through the GUI, but as you grow in Linux and grow more comfortable, you will learn how to be more proficient using your system, using shortcuts, keyboard shortcuts, navigations. Like there's many apps that you can launch. Like I use what's known as a tiling window manager. And what it is all my windows open up in tile patterns on the desktop, right? And I navigate solely through my keyboard. Just go through from one window to another window to another window, and I launch them on.
I have open
i3.
programs.
So I
Pop
I use,
has that too.
That's right. You have the tiling function. Yeah.
I have workspace.
So what I do with i3, the one that I use, I will hit the Windows, the function key, the mod key, which is a Windows key, Windows or mod key Shift and F2 mod key and F2 opens up my Brave, which is my internet browser. There's tons of keyboard shortcuts. You can actually customize them in Linux. You can set those key bindings in there so that you can, as you grow, more proficient with Linux, you'll be able to set it up that way, and you'll be totally. That's what we call power using. You will be a power user in it, where you can actually open, close, do different
how
switch.
I want.
Yeah, exactly. How you want, when you want, where you want. You know what I'm saying? Without having, because using your key, your mouse is tough on the what you call it, the wrist. And so if you could avoid that, it helps your wrist, and it also actually speeds up your workflow by a lot. Especially when you have multiple desktops, virtual desktops open, you can navigate between the different desktops, and you can navigate through the different windows in there real quick. I mean, it's just it's insane. So that being said, as you progress, you'll learn those things. Another question I wanted to ask you. You said about your children, you did it for your children. What is their experience like with it?
They enjoy it. The Steam games was already loaded on there, and then I got Epic Games to load up, the Epic Games launcher. Had to do a couple little things to get that to load, but that's been pretty smooth, and the games run real great on it. There's graphic design apps and music making apps, and it's kind of stuff my daughter's really into. And she'll just get on there on her own. Be doing stuff on her own. She's figuring it out on her own. Navigating on her own.
You told me that one weekend you'd slept in a little bit and you woke up to music and you're like, what the heck are they getting into out there? What kind of music is this?
Yeah.
And you came out and she actually went into the apps
store,
I had, right. Downloaded an actual application onto there, which is amazing to me that she could just figure it out. I guess it's because it's a lot like how you do on Android through the Play Store, right? So she downloaded
Everything's
this
got
music,
thumbnails. And
she did this music app, and she set it up, installed it, and was actually creating music on it.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
And it wasn't half bad, Yeah. I woke up boom, 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 boom. It's all right, right on.
That's just fantastic.
I was blown away.
That shows exactly what I've long said about Linux, in the fact that with Linux, it is very easy to navigate around. It's easy to figure out how to install a program. You don't have to crawl the web to download an execution file, then figure out how to launch this execution file.
Right.
You just click on it, install it, and boom, it works. It just works. It downloads everything it needs. You don't have to worry about drivers. You don't have to worry about anything that
Yeah.
it's going to need or conflict with.
That's one thing I was amazed
works.
with, the drivers it all came with right off the bat, you know. Getting the game controller to work, or, you know, the sound. I didn't have to do anything extra. It was
You surprised me too, because before I never jumped to this in as fast a time as you did coming to Linux, switching to Linux. Back then, they didn't really have it, but even when they started coming around, I didn't jump to it right away. But you actually even downloaded and installed emulators and got the controller to work with the emulators, right?
That's part of the reason I wanted a computer. Yeah, to show my kids older games and stuff. And
Retro gaming, baby.
I never had a
That's
Genesis,
where it's at.
so
Yeah.
it's like I'm reliving my youth, you know,
Heck yeah,
playing
retro
Altered
gaming.
Beast and
Yeah.
whatever. But
Heck yeah.
But yeah, for a while, for like a week or something, I was trying to get the controller to work, and I thought it had something to do with the drivers on the computer. You know, I thought it was a software problem,
Right.
but you have to actually open up the emulators and set the controller
Yeah, I remember
buttons.
talking with you about that at work, and I
was
said
like-
do an ls bulk PLC command to see if it sees a controller. If it sees a controller, then it's not the
Right.
the operating system. It's within the emulator.
Yeah.
And you figured that out.
Yep.
That's
So,
awesome.
It's had growing pains, you know, but it's just figuring it out and watching YouTube videos, just like anything working on a car. Or, you know, if you put enough brain power into it, it's pretty smooth, you know. I
Right.
mean, but yeah, even my 10-year-old daughter is able to get on there and figure stuff out. So
Yeah.
it's like,
So,
you know.
so the thing with Pop! OS, first off, you do realize that it's based off of Ubuntu. But that being said, as well, they created their own type of desktop. It's called a Cosmic Desktop. How do you? I mean, it's kind of built off of GNOME 2 or GNOME 3. I can't remember. Anyhow, it's based off of GNOME. Mm-hmm. And so, 'cause I don't use GNOME a lot. So, but how do you like that desktop environment?
It's pretty smooth, you know. I mean, it's everything. I haven't wanted to change it yet. You know, even though you've told me there's 400 choices, like, I'm kind of okay with my first decision.
Yeah.
Now I got everything downloaded and
Right.
it's like all working. I don't really want to change it. So, but yeah, it works smooth for me, and you know.
So, but the look, feel, it's easy to navigate. You understood what icons were, what, and,
Yeah.
whatever. Nice,
Yeah.
nice. Do you see yourself recommending Linux to other?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. You know, if anyone's having problems with Windows or need to upgrade or something, it's like, why not just do what I did and switch over to a much smoother experience that's all free, and you never have to worry about an update ever again. You know, don't have to. 2 years down the road when Microsoft is going to drop 10 or whatever's going to happen, they want you to change, and that's what they did with 7. All of a sudden, you get all these notifications all the time that you need to. We're not going to be supporting this anymore. You need to upgrade, or else, or security threats. There's always security. You know, it's always something with Windows.
There's always something.
So
I mean, they're increasingly. I mean, because as Linux is becoming more popular. I mean, rule of thumb with hackers is they hack for what they're gonna. It's just like fishermen. You go to the hole where you're gonna get the most for your cast of the net. You know what I'm saying?
Sucker fish.
Exactly. You're gonna cast your net. You're gonna try to get as many fish as you can, right? So you're obviously gonna go to the hole where the most food is at, right? So in that retrospect, Windows has the most people that use it by far and large, through businesses as well as through personal use, to where hackers are going to write malicious code against Windows first, and then Apple, before they'll write for Linux, right? As Linux grows in popularity, of course, there's going to be more and more code maliciously written, towards Linux. But Linux does something that Apple does too, because they're Unix based as well. But Windows doesn't do, and what they do is they tend to segregate your folders from the system folders. In other words, like your home folders, where all your pretty much read, write, access stuff is, to where like the stuff that you're constantly changing lives at. Anything that your system needs that is hardcore, that if you have to enter the sudo command prompt in order to install it, which is basically your administrative password. To make that change, that's in a different folder, right? And that's segregated. So the viruses and stuff that people are writing for this stuff or for Linux don't tend to migrate into those because it's sequestered. So it's a lot more secure than Windows is in that aspect. But that's something that us Linux people tout very proudly about. That there's hardly any viruses written for Linux at all. I mean, hardly any at all. So as compared to Windows, I think they're getting a new virus every couple of hours. It seems like, you know what I'm saying. Our updates that we experience in our system are literally developer updates, where developers have added new code. They're fine tuning the process to the applications and programs that you're running, as well as drivers and base utilities. You know what I'm saying. So those are constantly getting upgraded, but it's not. That's what the updates are for.
Shut up.
So
I had a question. When I start up my computer, it'll ask for my crypt key password.
Crypt
Do you know what that
password.
is?
That's probably it's wanting your wallet password, because you entered into on an application somewhere, either through a web browser or something like that, where all your password keys are stored there.
And then it'll ask for my Linux password.
Right.
It asks for it twice.
Yeah.
But it's the same password, and it's like,
Yeah,
I haven't figured that out yet. But
Yeah, well, basically what it is it's your wallet. There's like a K wallet, there's a GNOME wallet, and that's what it's asking for. Well, it secures any passwords that you have auto saved on your thing.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
And
Yeah.
so that's what
Just
it's
like
asking
Google
to
does.
unlock it. Yeah, exactly, to unlock it. So you can disable that if you want to disable it, or otherwise.
So there's little things like that I haven't figured out how to do, but it's like,
yeah, those are little
Yeah.
things that they put in there for added layers
Just
of
takes
security.
time.
Yeah. So basically, you could just simply take that, and you can basically take that, and you could either disable that if you want. You can Google that. Just type in what it is, what it's calling it, the name of what it is when it comes up, and just Google that. How do I disable it or whatever? And you can go through the walkthrough. Otherwise, I can come over, we can look at it or whatever. But one last question. How did you feel? Because a lot of people wonder about, well, what kind of software is available for me on Linux? I mean, Windows has all this stuff and all this kind of crap. I mean, the fact of the matter is for every Windows application that you have, for the most part, I mean, like I'll go 99%. Not 99.9, but 99%. For every Windows program or application out there, you will have a free and open source alternative to it. Okay?
Okay.
So, how do you feel when you went into the Software Center and saw all the different programs and apps that are available to you? How did you feel about that?
Overwhelmed. There's multiples of the same thing. I have to download everything just to check it out. Of course. There's all these graphic design ones for my kid,
I will give you this, man. It seems like in every last, whether it's the AUR or the Discover software for KDE or the GNOME Application Center or whatever software center or add or remove software, whatever you want to call it, in any Linux derivative, the one thing that they absolutely do not, I think they could do a little bit better on. They do it, but they could do a little bit better on, is giving better descriptions.
A preview, yeah, right.
Better descriptions as to what this application is outside of a music player, but I mean, what exactly is it capable of doing, and what would be like the use instance for it. Like some of them are written for KDE desktops, other ones are written for GNOME desktop. But in Arch Linux, you get all three of them. You know what I'm saying, or Cinnamon Mate or whatever. And that's the thing. A lot of them are different.
Even like user reviews or
Yeah.
something would be really helpful.
Exactly.
Like, hey, this is what I used, or
Yeah,
I was thinking
I
the
agree.
same thing.
I agree. I think that,
Some of them show like a screenshot of what it looks like, and
right.
then
In other
a
words,
real
you just have to
brief,
guess what it is.
yeah, a little brief description. And
Yeah, I think one of the games is like Battle of Westnoff. The way it's a game, right? And it's a game that when you look at the tile picture of it, it looks like it's an actual RPG, almost like as if you're playing Elder Scrolls, right? Where you're on a horse or riding around and with the sword and you're fighting, things. But no, it's an overview one like League of Legends.
Yeah.
It's like this is not what I wanted. I was wanting to immersive in game. I'm playing this.
Yeah.
You know, and then it's like I'm playing League of Legends. Oh wow, you know, I don't like those games. You know what I'm saying? Not that those aren't fantastic games. I don't want to knock any game because there games are out there for everybody. Certain people love those games. I do not. And so I was kind of disappointed when I downloaded it. I was like, oh man, you know. But then I discovered Neverwinter Nights, which is really cool. It's immersive, and it's also that way.
And that's on Steam.
Yeah.
So you found that, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, you know, and I ain't gonna lie, I do most of my gaming on Steam because I do like, you know, Call of Duty. You know, I got Neverwinter Nights. You know, I mean, I got a whole smattering of different games that I play on there. You know what I'm saying? The Witcher. You know, those are all good games. You know, I mean, Crazy Taxi I've even got on there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. You know, but at any instance, I do agree that the descriptions and the little pictures aren't always 100% in the software, add or remove software repositories. You know, there's a couple of the older ones that you don't like. I think Octopi is one that you don't even see. It just got a written description on it, and then you click on it, and then you got to click on install or mark for installation, and then apply. You don't even actually see a picture of what the game is. You just see a written description of it. So I mean, and that's how it was back in the old days. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I mean, you didn't get any of those. So they've come a long way.
Yeah.
They actually have come a long way from where they were. I mean, and that's the thing, too, that you should know about Linux is that it's constantly progressing. It's always developing. That's why there's system upgrades. Even though it's good as it is, the upgrades is because they're adding better tweaks to things, you know, better the desktop environments are getting rewritten.
Mine always wants to update.
You know,
seems like every time I turn it on, you know.
But you're not forced on those updates, not like Windows.
Yeah.
You have to accept them in order to do them every time. It's not automatically forced.
Yeah.
Not like Windows where you get stuck and you have to update.
Right.
No more. None of that. You're free of all that stuff. So anyhow, man, I'm so glad that you made the leap to Linux. I'm so glad that it was easy. And I'm so glad that you're actually enjoying it. And what's more is, you know, your kids are experiencing it. And what's cool is they're going to tell their friends.
Next generation, yeah.
Yeah,
So
you know, they're going to tell their
I
friends.
gave them one quick walkthrough, and now they're going to tell their friends. And
you know, exactly.
Yeah.
And so I mean, I really enjoy how it's just like having that ripple effect, you know. I don't understand why people want to pay money to be told what to do with their operating system, like people do with Linux, and even Apple doesn't let you do a lot of customization, a lot of that stuff. They still lock you down to, this is what we're giving you, this is what you can do, and that's it.
yeah.
You know, that you can't change music players on it very much. I mean,
The
it's like-
simplicity is people just love Apple, but
yeah, exactly. So I mean, I love that. I'm glad that you're enjoying that. I'm glad that everything that I said is actually true and that you haven't had a headache. I'm sure it's going to come. That frustration is going to come. And you did say you had some, you know, learning curve frustrations. On a scale of 1 to 10, where would you put those kind of frustrations at?
a 2. It's
Really, a 2?
Yeah, I'm not losing sleep over it.
No kidding. Wow. Because I ain't going to lie to you, man. I think when I first jumped to Linux, I might have broke 1 or 2 keyboards.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, beating I mean, it was just I would get angry at some of the things because I don't like feeling stupid, and I was made to feel stupid at times because back then you had to edit a lot of stuff. You had to kind of code a lot of stuff. You know, it wasn't
Right.
It was very rudimentary compared to what it is now. It's
Yeah.
very well polished. You know, but I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I've had my share. Although I got to tell you, in the last 8+ years. Not so much near frustration. Honest to God, the
Yeah.
drivers have gotten way better. You know, the actual scripting for because you can go in and customize through scripts and stuff like that. The scripting has gotten, language has gotten a lot easier because there's all kinds of different scripting languages out there, from Haskell to Python to C+, on C++ and all this. I mean, there's all kinds that are at play here. So, I mean, it's gotten so much better, But at any instance, I really am glad that you discovered Linux, you've had a pleasant ride with Linux, and that you're growing with it, and that your kids are growing with it. That's where it's at, And
There's room for growth too.
Absolutely,
We can keep going.
And what's to say one of your children doesn't get grown up and start coding for Linux
Programming
and make it
or
even
something.
better,
Right.
and make it even
Make
better.
their own.
Exactly, make their own. That's there's literally a kid that did that. I don't know what distribution it is. It's called, but the kid literally was like 12 years old. and he wrote a distribution and took over actually a distribution because it was being unsupported. Nobody wanted to do anything for it.
Yeah.
So this kid literally took it over and just made this distribution, and it's actually turned out to be a popular distribution.
Wow.
But a child did this.
Yeah.
That's how flexible and awesome Linux is. So anyhow, we're going to go ahead and close out this segment for today, and thanks for watching. If you've got any friends that are looking to free themselves from the Microsoft drab or the monetary succubus that is known as Apple, because I mean, you just touch a mouse, it's like $400. I mean, it's insane. But at any instance, if you got somebody you care about or even like, maybe even sort of like, and want to recommend Linux to them, go ahead, man, do it, because you got this guy right here that's living proof that it can be easily done and easily, navigated around and learned.
And if I can figure it out, anyone can. I mean, come on.
So anyhow, this is Alex saying bye, and
like and subscribe our videos so we can come back and do some more instructional videos for you. And I'm Shawn. Thanks for watching.